Ōtaki is the home of the Whakatupu Rangarua Mono movement, which is the revitalisation of te reo Māori. That's where it started. The urbanisation of Māori has really affected the way that Māori live in city. There's no place for them. There's no kura for them. I don't know, I feel like I was born into sort of this... I'm a bit wealthy in terms of like I grew up with this bank of knowledge and I'm super grounded in who I am and I know who I am, and there are so many other people from coloured backgrounds that don't grow up with that privilege. I've spoken to hundreds of other Māori who don't even know where they belong or where they're from and don't acknowledge that side of themselves because it wasn't present in their upbringing. There are kura in Porirua, te kura kaupapa Māori o Porirua, as well as in ngā mokopuna, but they've been pushed to the side. So it's like kids who live within the CBD have to go to Porirua if they want to go to a kura that will, you know, raise them in the knowledge of te ao Māori, right? If you set up some sort of practice like within the CBD that nourishes that, it's not only for the benefit of Māori within Wellington or living within the Wellington region, it benefits everybody. It's that interconnected sort of community. It's very much like a tukutuku panel, like woven strands, everything's just woven together.
What feels healthy for us is to like do it differently. Yeah. Instead of just compete according to the rules that were there. Like, for instance, the anthology films like Wadu and Vai, like you said, they have a different kaupapa, they have a different kind of sense of what it is to kind of help realize someone else's vision. That's a different model of, like, creativity and kind of industry that I think is a really positive model that we've seen here, and it's from here. Yeah, you do have to think through everything and kind of be innovative and kind of change the wheel. But that's where we feel better, where we don't feel totally horrible after we get out of a job.
A lot of the VFX artists in New Zealand actually built their bodies of work and their portfolio while they were on the artist benefit. Now, that was scrapped when National came in, and it hasn't since been brought back in, but that was one of the ways historically New Zealand had addressed the fact that how do people build their body of work or build their portfolio? And so the artist benefit was that answer to that. And my understanding was you were able to be on it for a limited amount of years, but by the time you came out the other end of it, you were ready to enter into the industry. New Zealand has had that in place, but it was removed as the belt was tightened. You know, most people that know me know the only reason I've been able to afford to be in the industry is I'm a sex worker, and I know a lot of artists who are also sex workers. Why? Because nobody pays artists to make art. Do I wish that wasn't the only option for a lot of us? Absolutely. But also at the same time, there's a lot of things that I've been able to throw money towards, and that's been kind of the financial backing of my career. And I would like that to not be the case moving forward, but also at the same time, it raises a really important question. What is everybody else doing that is not in a position to be able to do that? They just don't stay in the industry. We're losing them.
We have an issue of hierarchy of needs in New Zealand, where we have chronic underfunding of some really important social programs. I think part of the resistance to funding things that are seen as luxuries or unnecessary, things like the arts. I would certainly argue the arts are not a luxury and they are a necessity, but I think many people unfortunately don't agree with me. And I can't speak to the political history of how the taxation system works in New Zealand, but it seems like there's certainly an incredible lopsidedness to how taxes are collected in this country that puts the vast majority of the burden on those at the bottom of the wage spectrum. And I sort of wonder if this is a solvable problem while that's still the case.
To speak to the history of that a little bit more, you know, we're called New Zealand now, but we started as the New Zealand Company. And the value that the New Zealand Company puts on assets, resources being far away from the Crown, et cetera, et cetera. There's also the tyranny of distance where everything needed to come on a boat. So in regards to the frugalness, it's been decades and decades and decades of people going, this is what we got. Now, the problem is, that's not what we got anymore. We got more than that, but everyone's still acting like that's all we got. I think so many people here have been told that you have to make do with what you've got for so long that it's so deeply embedded that the idea that you even think you deserve more is disgusting. I think COVID showed to everybody the value of the arts and how absolutely necessary it is that we're there as the climate crisis continues to keep people sane in their homes.